Hi. Okay, I'm just checking if you can hear me. Mhm. Yes, you can. Awesome. So, welcome to day two of live streaming. So, in the last video, I spoke about why and how highly sensitive leaders feel invisible, right? We spoke about how survival identities are created and what sustains them and how they operate and how they disconnect you from your true essence. So today we're going to deepen into the architecture of sovereignty, how to be sovereign from your survival identity. So all this information came to be because I learned through um, the wisdom that comes with experiences, right? The negative experiences. No one really learns, receives deep embodied wisdom from positive experiences. It's usually the negative experiences, right? It's when you allow your body, your full bodies, to digest the information from the reorientation that's happening between your soul and your human body. So I used to do financial literacy campaign for about 2 years, and during that time, um, that was my sole source of income, and I hardly made any money at all, if any, at all, because it was coming from a very disconnected state of being, and that state of being is what actually created my urgency, right? To I want to say force people to get with the program, but because that's how it felt like. But that wasn't my intention. My intention was to bring people into this mission I truly believed in, which is financial literacy for everybody. Everybody having access, knowing what kind of information is available for them so that they can upgrade their quality of life, because there's only so much that $20 an hour can do for you. So as I was going through that, I noticed my trainer, she was very, she had a, she was very hungry. There was this urgency, and it was the same urgency that the leaders above her had, right? So it was very, oh, we have to do it right now. We have to do it right now. There was like this anxiety behind it, right? So to the point where even if we were rested like this, right? In the present moment, if we really anchored into the present moment, when I was around that company, it was rooted in anxiety. My friend, actually, an acquaintance, actually pointed out that it was rooted in survival identity, right? Because imagine what survival identity sounds like from the previous video we did, right? How why highly sensitive leaders hide, why they're invisible, why they feel invisible. It's because there's a part of you that feels unsafe to be seen. Your true core essence doesn't feel safe in your presence, right? Because you haven't created space for that. And when you're around people who have urgency, right, which is like the majority of the hustlers, go-getters, is like now, 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 now. It's coming from a state of lack. It's coming from a state of disconnection from your true self. It's coming from a place of um, do or die, right? And understand when things are not working out, you're trying to fight the current of life, right? It gives you this illusion of power over your reality. And a lot of people get in the trap of creating this life, this amazing life from the state of being. But once they have received that life, they can't rest in that life, because the root of that life was created from anxiety. It was created from not being present with your emotions. It came from not metabolizing your emotions, not really asking yourself, what is the internal motivation behind me going it this way? They believe this is the only way, so I've got to do and die. And unfortunately, a lot of people then suffer the consequences of that, right? They stop going to the gym because they're all in on their business. They're like, okay, whatever. I'm always on the road. I'm always hustling. I don't have time to take care of my body. I'm always eating on the road, eating whatever I can eat because I'm saving money. I'm eating this low quality food because I'm saving up because I want to buy a house so that I have a better quality of life. It's like you're sacrificing one thing for another thing. Not um you're not playing smart. You're just so focused on the goal to the point that you lose um you lose access to the whole picture, right? Because if you arrive into that dream house, but your body is frail, you're sick now because you haven't been taking care of your body, you've been operating from 100% stress, right? When you go to bed, you're not fully rested, you don't have a toolkit to really rest and take care of your nervous system. You're going to bed hyper vigilant. You're waking up hyper vigilant, thinking the first thought that comes into your head, like, oh, I gotta make money, I gotta make money, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, because you're trying to control how your identity anchors, how the external world flows. You're trying to control every single minute detail because you believe you are the one who who is in charge of every single thing that happens in your life. There's no boundaries between you and the world, and there's no boundaries between you and yourself because it's staggered, right? It's how far in does the world get within you, and from there, how far are you allowing yourself to go within yourself? Because what a lot of people in the manifestation world, where they say like, oh, Delulu is the Solulu, right? They're going too far within themselves. And when they go too far within themselves, the manifestation is not grounded in reality, right? Because when you're manifesting, you're visualizing and feeling the state, right? And then you're aligning yourself with that state of being by doing the things that amplify that vision, that ground that vision, right? But when you're like, oh, Lulu, and you're not doing anything that lines with it, or even if you're doing something that's not grounded in your current circumstances, right? Because we're talking about left and right brain here. I often confuse this too. The right, I believe, is the imagination, right? This is where you visualize, right? And then the left is the logic. You want the left and right brain to bridge together. You want them to spark together, right? This is how you're using your brain to its fullest potential. You're not like, oh, just using this brain and then completely forgetting about the other brain, right? You gotta use your logic together. And when you use your logic together, this is where you drop down into your body, your emotional body, to actually gather information on like, oh, okay, how am I receiving my current reality? The difference between my current reality and my desired reality. And how you respond to that gap is what determines whether you're going to succeed or not. And a lot of people are taught that you're meant to bypass this process of responding to the gap within from your emotional body. And this is where you start creating chaos from, because it's not grounded in you're not you haven't metabolized that emotional gap. And when you don't metabolize the emotional gap, what you're manifesting is trying to compensate for that emotional gap. The gap has to be closed from within, not without. And when you do it from without, this is where you wake up in a life where you're like, man, like, yeah, this is beautiful from the outside. Everybody thinks like I'm winning, I'm doing everything well, but I don't feel safe in my life. I feel like it can just collapse if I don't keep going. It's because the foundation I wasn't built on inner calm, inner stability, inner uh, wholeness, feeling enough, being enough regardless of how it shows up. It's a consistent trying to fix yourself, trying to fill a void with things that are not meant to be there. So that pivot from building your life from that state of being of anxiety, which many believe it's alignment, right? Because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, if you If you listen to all your emotions, you wouldn't get anything done. Yes, there's a time and place for holding a container to feel your emotions, right? The big emotions that actually distract you from actually being present and creating. But you want to know the difference between the emotions like that, right? And the emotions that actually is just the current of life, of being alive, right? A lot of people are living life without feeling alive. A lot of people are living life like a zombie. They're disconnected from their heart. Their hearts are closed. So you want to actually open your heart, because an open heart is what will soften that armor that you feel, that armor that makes you feel activate your fight and flight response, right? Your fighting is like you're in hyper vigilance. You're anticipating the worst case scenario. You're playing scenarios in your head, anticipating the worst case scenario, and playing it all out in your head and reacting to that, right? And creating a life around that. Something that hasn't even happened, or something that happened in the past that you're anticipating will happen again, right? Or completely abandoning your body because it feels unsafe to fully drop into your body because of whatever happened. And I was here a lot of times where my present reality felt like a dream. It just didn't feel right. I just had to numb it away. I had to numb myself for me to be able to operate in the real world. And naturally, I'm just gifted in the spiritual world. So naturally, it's easy for me to drop out of my body and go into the spiritual world. It's so easy. So I have to design my life around being present. And when you have built your life around not being present, it's inevitable that that whole infrastructure that requires you to not be present for it to continue to operate, it has to crumble. And I know it's scary. It's scary letting go of something you've put so much energy and time into. But once you understand your limitless nature, you know, like everything that you build wrong and good, everything that you've wasted your time and energy to do, it it is building a certain skill set. So it's always going to be a win-win situation. And it is all about how you reorient yourself after whatever needs to collapse has collapsed. Because even how you respond to that determines whether you are a limited being or a limitless being. You have to choose who you are, a limited being or limitless being. So there's a choice there where you have to make a quantum step, right? Quantum step into the unknown to access your bigness, your bigger than lifeness, for you to actually build something that lasts. And that starts within your spirit body and just being okay where you are. And really asking yourself, what is preventing me from accessing my limitless right now? What stories are making it impossible for me to experience my limitless right now? So this is what the Sovereign Pause helps you with. I just dropped it a couple minutes ago. You can find more information below. This is what we'll be working with together. I created a document. Actually, it's technology. Okay, it's just, man. Sometimes I don't understand my genius, man. Like once you become so embodied in your sovereign pause, it becomes so easy for you to realize, like, man, my limitless nature is tied to my being. And your being is your genius. It's the way you're designed to live. And it's effortless. It's the things that you take for granted, right? It's the things that you don't pay attention to within yourself because you're like, they've always been there. So what? Right? So now it's time to excavate them. And we're going to be excavating them through these 100 prompts, and they're 100 for a reason, okay? Because by the 100th time, the 100th thought, the 100th awareness, the 100th layer, you would have really fully anchored into this remembrance of who you've always been. Because it's always about who you've always been. It's not accessing something other than you, because you're a limitless being, right? So you're tapping back into that continuity of who you've always been. So accessing this continuity requires specific questions, requires certain level of awareness, requires a specific depth, because you don't know what you're accessing, what you're tapping into, right? If you haven't tapped into it before, because you've been so consumed with the manifesting your life according to other people's blueprints. This is about accessing your own blueprint and normalizing your own blueprint as the blueprint of success. So you can find more information about the Sovereign Pause below. And I'm curious what you gather from here. And if you have any clarifying questions, please leave them below. This is Rudo. I'm a clear channel of Sri Venus. Welcome to Mental Alchemy Academy. See you on the other side.